Washington, D.C., the heart of global decision-making, just became the stage for a new vision of our future. The first draft of the Constitutional Charter for Peace, Regeneration, and the Flourishing of Humanity has officially been unveiled. Led by Dr. Professor Gabriele Paupé-Andreoli, this mission arrived in the U.S. Capitol with a powerful spiritual foundation. On 17 January 2026, Gabriele Paupé, President of the Institute for Advanced Studies and Cooperation, formally presented the constitutional vision in Vatican City to His Eminence Cardinal Pietro Parolin, Secretary of State of the Holy See, seeking guidance on the ethical, institutional, and spiritual dimensions of the proposed constitutional process. The signing of this historic first draft in Washington, D.C. brought together a diverse group of prominent leaders and visionaries. Among the key figures supporting the charter are Pastor Mark Burns, spiritual advisor to President Donald J. Trump, chairman of Spiritual Diplomats; Brock Pierce, entrepreneur, co-founder of the stablecoin Tether, USDT, futurist, venture philanthropist, creator; and Marina Afsanova, president of Alatra, International Public Movement. Together, they are laying the groundwork for a new era, one where peace is no longer just a hope, but a technologically safeguarded and ethically grounded infrastructure for all of humanity.
Gathered here today at the heart of the U.S. in the Capitol building for the Interfaith Conference led by Pastor Mark Burns. We're here with Aaliyah. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so my first question is, what does spiritual diplomacy mean to you?
It means everything. First of all, we are those who unite the world, and we are speaking with our love, dignity, compassion for those who cannot speak out. And we are those providers to bring peace in this world. And this is very important. So I feel a huge responsibility as a spiritual diplomat. And I really appreciate Pastor Mark Burns giving me this title.
So as we look to the future, what opportunities do you see for faith and civic communities to work together for positive impact?
Well, first of all, we have to all unite, right? From any countries, from any cities, as we can see right now here in this Interfaith Conference. It's an international conference. So people from all around the world flew here to be here to give a public speech, to bring people together. And this is the most beautiful and the most important for those people who cannot be here. And we are, as spiritual diplomats, we are those voices to bring awareness to social global issues, like, for example, human trafficking. And this is the topic I will speak later today, which is one of the global issues. If you have known that around 25 million people are sex trafficked globally, which is a huge amount. So we are here to bring awareness to the social problems and unite people from all around the world.
What key message would you like most for participants to carry forward after this conference?
I know and I believe that every single speaker here brings a lot of value, a lot of useful information for all of us. And thanks to the Alatra as well TV, which will broadcast this conference. And so many people around the world will stand with us and listen and participate and follow this conference. So this is the most important message, is to spread awareness, to bring awareness to social issues, as I said before, and also unite people. And it doesn't matter from what nationality you are, what age you are, what background you are. We are all human beings in this one planet, which is our home.
Your work centers around that topic. So how does that experience shape your perspective that you bring to this gathering?
You see, back into my 18s, I've been sent to a special department fighting human and drug trafficking. I was a secret agent, and I've been faced many dangerous missions, trying to help to rescue those underage children, which were like from 6 years old to 10, 12 years old. Together with my team, we rescued about 500 underage children. And they were not just particular from Russia. They were like children from Afghanistan and Greece and Albania and post-Soviet Union countries. So it's not really about, like, I do believe that children, our next generation, this is all our children. So that's why it's so important to protect them, to bring awareness to these problems, to teach them and educate them how to support each other in difficult situations, for example, like, dangerous events they may participate. And there's so many things we need to educate our children to avoid, because in order to prevent a problem, we have to educate our children.
Thank you so much for attending here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Today, we're gathered at the heart of the United States in Washington, D.C., at the United States Capitol building for the International Interfaith Conference, which is called United in Liberty, The Rise of Spiritual Diplomats, led by Pastor Mark Burns. And it is a great honor and pleasure to have you here with us as a speaker and as a respected guest. And thank you so much for dedicating your time to speaking with us. It's a great pleasure.
Mutually, it's a true honor to be here today with Pastor Burns. He just blows my mind, his passion and his mission, and I'm proud to stand. We see eye to eye in both our missions, and it's like a match made in heaven.
The conference title is Spiritual Diplomats, right? So what does spiritual diplomacy, what does this concept mean to you personally? How do you
It's so beautiful, and I'll tell you why. Because spirituality is something that each person has. And without spirituality, as I spoke earlier, I said, people don't have a meaning to life. So pretty much people are living a life that's shallow. There's no values, there's confusion, there's frustration, there's anger. Children aren't doing well in schools. Spirituality, regardless of, this is an interfaith. People have different faiths, but it gives them direction and guidance. It's a GPS, and it gives them a meaning for life. And by being part of something spiritual like this, we are gathering together saying, regardless of, we could agree to disagree, and we don't necessarily disagree. We have different upbringings, and different cultures, but we understand that we all focus on the spiritual aspect of what God wants from us to respect to respect life, and to stand up for each other and empower each other.
Looking into the future, what opportunities do you see for, when faith leaders, civic leaders, government officials come together, just like today, what opportunities do you see for the betterment of the society?
So I want to tell you, part of my speech I wanted to say, but I had a limited amount to speak, is I wanted to point out to the crowd and applaud Pastor Burns for saying, I'm a networker. I have from the biggest networks in the world, okay? National, international. I understand the work that went in, each person from different countries, from different cultures, from different leaderships. I understand the value that he brought into the room over here. I don't think there was one other person who could get up there and say that he understands not just the value and the quality and the takeaway, but I see the vision of how many people are going to make change to the world, and how many lives, millions, if not tens, maybe hundreds of millions, lives are going to be affected from this unity event. It was international, faith-based in the Capitol, from people from all over the world. I myself, met so many great leaders who came over to me to introduce themselves, and obviously they were very respectful, and they appreciated my message, what I feel was very powerful and very focused for all faith-based leaders to have takeaways. And I really told the pastor after he spoke, I said, I love how he said, if anyone's here to take pictures, leave. We're about, the takeaway. This is not a photo op event. And my speech, what I spoke about, was about takeaways and how we could improve relationships, how we could hold faith leaders and a lot of, people who are appointed by government. You have liaisons, and they abuse the authorities for the personal interest and gains. I think that's the number one obstacle we have today, because if we as faith-based leaders represent so many millions and millions and tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people, each community, whether it's Christian, Jewish, whether it's evangelical, whether it's Muslim, this, and you have a person appointed by the president in the White House who's supposed to be responsive to you, and they're not responsive, them misrepresenting the administration, the president, and they're holding back people who need help. And you have to, as a faith leader, stand up and not be intimidated, and stand up and tell this person, I'm sorry, you're not doing your job. And when they hit back, many times it happens to me, because, I don't take salary. I'm probably the only people here don't take a paycheck. And I tell them I have no, so threaten me, what we blackmail, what am I losing, So I'm here to speak on behalf of the people. But that's a broken system, because you can have us, the faith leaders, the people who need help, and if you come to the crisis mode and you have to go higher and you can't get through there, you're not going to be able to help the people. Thank God I have the relationships with administration directly, and the cabinet members, I go above them, I help. But for the average faith-based leader, my mission today was let's fix what's broken, and let's not be afraid, intimidated to speak up and call out those who have to be fired, have to be replaced.
Thank you so much. That's a very powerful message, very strong one. And also, based on your professional experience, life experience, what perspective do you bring to this conference? How do you think this encouragement to take action can inspire the team?
So I have so much to say on this question, and I encourage everyone to go to my website, ojchamber.com, and also to Google Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce, Google my name, Dovi Honig, because to start to speak about what we've done already on ways to empower people and bring communities and governments together. We made peace between countries through commerce. I represent, World Trade Week. I bring all the ambassadors and trade ministers and consul generals together and unify them and unite them. I established a national roundtable for presidents of chambers of commerce over here with the Secretary of Commerce last year, the first time ever, that empowers all 50 states from the boots, boots on the ground, from the bottom up. And I chair it on behalf of the United States government. I created, just 2 weeks ago, established with Bobby Kennedy and Dr. Oz to recognize Lyme disease and health and tick-borne infections as a chronic illness that's going to help, be able to be covered and recognized insurances, and be able to update the CDC guidelines, Surgeon General's. All these things come from uniting relationships and representing a bigger picture, because it's not me, it's the networks I represent, and the relationships in the Muslim world, in the Christian world, in the African American world, in the Hispanic, Latino world, and I go on, South America, Europe, and Asia, and Middle East, Israel, we have MOUs with them also. Governments signed MOUs with us, with my chamber. So we turned into a center that creates solutions. I wrote legislation like Labor Day, called Economic Development Day. What's signed into law, passed both houses. One day a year we stimulate everyone equally. So, and then all the briefs to protect religious values, whether it's not working on Sunday, whether it's not working on Saturday, whether it's value related, whether it's speaking up. So, in other words, I am proud of my name, Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce. People tell me, just call it Jewish Chamber. I'll tell you, 99.9% of the people we deal with are not Jewish at all. We use the strength of our business relations, and since Jews are all over the world, and our political relations, to be able to influence policy, advocate on behalf of others, help empower others, and create solutions. So I think when everyone unites, and I think the point to say over here, to take away, is that a lot of people who are very selfish. They think like one chamber of commerce or one organization as yours is competing with the other one. I totally don't see it that way. We're acting as an umbrella. I want to have more relationships. I want to include everyone in our networks. That's what we did today. That's what the pastor did today, brought everyone together. And by doing that, he showed that we're not intimidated by anyone. We don't feel threatened. We're above everyone when we unite everyone should act that way. And I think that's the message to take away from Pastor Brones today. And that's my message for my organization. And that's why we're able to align so much and accomplish so much together. So I encourage all of you to be able to always reach out of your circles. I promise you, it's always rewarding. The broader your network, the more reach you have, more influence you have. Your network is your net worth. Stop being selfish. Don't think, I don't want to share a contact. Everyone knows that you come to Divi Honig and I give them contacts unlimited to the highest levels. I don't say it's my contact, I'm not giving it to you. How can you need help? Here it is, and we're here to share. That makes us stronger together. That makes us better together. And that's what the pastor did today.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Honig. This is amazing. Thank you for this meaningful conversation. And thank you for what you do.
And I look forward, this is only the beginning, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. We're gathered here today at the heart of the United States Capitol for the International Interfaith Conference, which is called United in Liberty, the Rise of Spiritual Diplomats, led by Pastor Mark Burns. Thank you so much, Congressman Harris, for taking the time to speak with us today. Thank you so much for the work that you do. It is a great pleasure and honor to have the opportunity to speak with you.
Well, it's an honor to be here, and I was certainly blessed to be able to address the group that had gathered here in the Capitol and to be with my friend Mark Burns.
Thank you so much. As we just mentioned, today's conference topic introduces the concept of spiritual diplomacy. And what spiritual diplomacy means to you personally?
Well, I think when we think about spiritual diplomacy, I think you realize that the Bible is the foundation, that we recognize that it gives us the answers to everything we're looking for. People sometimes say, well, all the answers can't be in the Bible. Well, they really are. I mean, there are answers in there about how we are to ultimately come into a relationship with the living God. As a believer, a follower of Jesus Christ, we understand in Christ alone do we have that relationship. But we also learn economic principles in the Bible. Growing up, we used to learn the principles that if you don't work, you don't eat. The importance of a very strong work ethic, that was an important principle. The principles in the Bible that you shouldn't borrow more or you shouldn't spend more than you actually have, so you don't go into debt, the dangers of debt being an issue. So there's all kinds of issues there. But I'm just honored to be a part of this, understanding that the Bible gives us that solid foundation of when we are dealing with individuals, let that be kind of the Matthew 18 principle in the way we relate with one another.
Thank you so much. And as we look into the future, how do you see this collaboration of faith leaders, of civic leaders, of government officials coming together for bringing a positive impact on society? How important is it?
Oh, I think it's very important. As I said, I think faith leaders around the world understand and are beginning to understand more the importance of them being engaged in every area of government, in every area of society. I don't think God in His Word carves out one section and says, stay out of that. I think instead that He intends for His truth and His promises to come to bear on a culture and a society across all different aspects. So for me, stepping into the political realm, having been a pastor for 36 years, that really is something that was natural because, again, we're not told to keep this in silence and to somehow hide it under a bushel, but we're told to be salt and we're told to be light to the community around us. And I think that's an important reason that we stay engaged and we fight for religious freedom around the country and around the world.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you for your actions. And also, what message would you like the participants of today's conference, our audience, to walk away with, to carry forward to their communities locally and globally?
I think my message would be more along the lines of something I just said, and that is that if we think about there in Matthew's gospel, Jesus makes it very clear that we are to be salt and light. And you know, sometimes salt stings and sometimes it burns, but it always purifies. And I think that's what the faith community needs to recognize. We're to be that light. We're to shine the light in the midst of darkness to the truth. And I think just the engagement, day to day, living out your faith is so important. And that's what I would love for everybody in your group to do.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for this meaningful conversation.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Today, we're here gathered at the heart of the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C. We're very glad to welcome you. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us as we are here attending the International Interfaith Conference, United in Liberty, the Rise of Spiritual Diplomat, led by Pastor Mark Burns. Thank you so much.
Well, I really appreciate the success of Pastor Dr. Mark Burns. Hey, this is a full house. I mean, the Cannon Caucus Room here in Washington, D.C. is one of the most elegant and large facilities, and it's filled with people from all over the world. And so what a testament, and indeed the success, spiritual diplomats making a difference, promoting freedom and liberty in the world.
Yes, thank you so much. And also, as we hear from the title of the conference, it says the rise of spiritual diplomats. So how do you personally understand the concept of spiritual diplomacy, what it means to you?
Well, spiritual diplomacy actually to me means, again, freedom of religion, which I'm so grateful that America, that we have the right of freedom of religion. And then we see the success of it. And in the United States, in my home community, at one time, we had the largest Jewish population in the New World. And so in Charleston, South Carolina, and now very assimilated. Additionally, then flash forward, so many different denominations of different Protestant churches, Catholic churches, Orthodox churches. And then I'm really grateful, I also work very closely with the Hindu community of South Carolina, who have been so successful. And so all the different communities working together for mutual benefit.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your actions. Thank you for what you bring to the society. And also, in your opinion, how do you think the collaboration between faith leaders and policymakers, civic leaders, can bring a positive change to the world?
Oh, hey, we see it, and I've lived it in South Carolina. Again, back again to my hometown of South Carolina. My family includes people who had to flee Europe. French Huguenots for religious freedom. They had to flee Europe with the Presbyterian being Scottish. And so over and over again, we see the benefits of freedom. And my family is here because of religious freedom.